Ladies, you've heard the good news that the FDA has removed the warning signs on the black box that we can actually take hormones now and feel good about it without worrying about cancer. And we have Dr. Shiva Lalezar here to talk to us about how we can go through menopause and feel good about ourselves as women without the shame. You are incredible. 26 years you've been practicing medicine, and you're also a functional medical doctor. So that is exactly what we want as women now. We are entering the stage. We're going through midlife. We're starting to feel the night sweats. We're starting to feel like we can't sleep. We don't feel good. And you're the answer to all our problems because you understand what's going on in our bodies. So I want to start off by asking you what you think about the fact that the FDA has removed these warning signs. Is it a good thing for us?
I'm extremely excited about it because I've been saying it for the past 25 years. In fact, I would get into argument when I was doing my surgical residency. I would get into arguments with the surgeon that I was doing my rotation with. And I said, these birth control pills are synthetic hormones. Don't you see an association between that and breast cancer? And we were like, no, there's no association. And then that Women's Health Initiative came out, which had a lot of flaws. And it threw women off for more than 30 years now. Women have been suffering, being worried that these hormones are going to cause cancer. It was the synthetic hormones that were causing cancer. And we can totally go into the details of that. But when you do bioidentical hormone therapy at a physiologic dose, it actually reduces risk of breast cancer.
We just don't know all of this. So we come to someone like you to help us, to guide us. For me, this is all new. I start having night sweats. I'm not feeling good. My girlfriends and I, we're all battling this, and we're thinking who's the right doctor to go to? What does functional medicine really mean? What's the difference about seeing someone like you versus just seeing our regular gynecologist who gave birth to our babies? What's the difference there?
Well, I've studied anti-aging medicine for the past 25 years, and we really go into the details of these hormones, and I think we have a better understanding of what these bioidentical hormones do, how do we balance them, the ratio between estrogen and progesterone. And OBGYN, they're fantastic. I still refer to a lot of OBGYNs to do the uterine lining, look at do the pap smear and ultrasound. But when it comes to hormones, they're in this habit of just prescribing birth control pills. Or they were in the habit of prescribing synthetic Prempro that our mothers were on. Remember the horse urine, Premarin and Progestin, which is exactly the hormone that was used at Women's Health Initiative, which caused uterine cancer and breast cancer.
Yeah. So what is the magic in all of this? How do we know how to even start and how to go about it? Do we take our blood to see what our levels look like? Because how do we begin?
The magic is in individualized care. There is not one pill for all, right? So you come to a physician who has studied anti-aging medicine, who knows about the world of bioidentical hormones, and you start with the blood work, absolutely. And when you're in that menopause phase, you can get the blood work done at any day during, because your cycle probably has already stopped.
Right.
But if you're still premenopausal and you're still having a menstrual cycle, usually I like to do the blood work on day 19 to 23 of the cycle because I want to look at the ratio between estrogen and progesterone.
So if you're in the premenopause where you're still having a menstrual cycle and you take the blood and you see that, okay, you've entered this, do you then give the bioidentical? Would you start with an estrogen patch and progesterone to help?
Generally, patients who are still menstruating, I will start them with progesterone, and almost always their testosterone level is very low as well. So we start with progesterone and testosterone, and once I see a decline of estrogen, if the estrogen level is less than, let's say, 50 in their blood work, then I'll start giving estrogen. And estrogen comes in very different shapes and forms. The patch is just one form.
Right. So I have the patch. I just started and I'm taking progesterone and it's helping me sleep a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I'm still struggling. My friends and I were struggling. I'm moody.
Yeah.
I put out a warning on a group chat to my family saying, warning, I am going through menopause. Everybody watch out and be kind to me. Right.
Yeah.
So what else are we supposed to be doing in this phase where it's okay, we've begun, we're doing what we're supposed to do, but it's not really completely working?
I'm so glad you're asking me this question. Because the issue is that estrogen dominance that I was telling you about, if you're still feeling like you're coming out of your skin, you have breast tenderness, you have sugar cravings, you have that belly pouch, right? That means that perhaps you're getting too much estrogen and not enough progesterone. And also progesterone in a capsule form, because it goes through the liver, it will cause somnolence and it improves the quality of sleep. That's why we won't give a progesterone cream to a patient who has insomnia.
I see. So you'll take the pill rather than the cream. So like you said, each case is different. And you just touched on the belly pouch. Let's talk about that for a minute, okay? We're all going through this. You hit this age, you get through midlife, and for many of us who never had issues or those who did, all of a sudden now it's like you've got this muffin top. And you hear all about these like GLP-1s and these different things that you should be taking, but there's not enough information out there to know, is it beneficial? Are there side effects? Like, what do you recommend for women who are struggling with weight gain around their belly and going through all this?
Well, first of all, I shied away from all the GLP-1 and GIP because I was so afraid it's going to cause side effects until I gave into it myself. For the life of me, I could not lose the belly patch and I couldn't lose weight. So I said, you know what? I have to try this. I have to try this because I don't want to develop a metabolic syndrome or insulin resistance. And I was on my way of developing insulin resistance. And then the next step of that would be diabetes and cardiovascular disease. So what I did is I actually started the GLP-1 and GIP, which is Mounjaro. That's much better tolerated because it addresses two receptors versus Ozempic that had all those side effects.
Right.
Only addresses the GLP-1 receptor. So this medication actually has proven to prevent Alzheimer. It reduces blood sugar or glycosylation in the cells, and it improves insulin sensitivity. So it really helps patients lose those few pounds, especially around the belly. The other thing we need to look at is cortisol level, because so many of us are running around trying to balance work and life, and we're under tremendous amount of stress. Our adrenal glands are producing all this cortisol, which can cause that belly pouch, right? And what happens is when estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and DHEA goes down, cortisol is the dominant hormone now, and insulin resistance can set in, and then metabolic syndrome.
Wow.
So all of these are like complicated issues, and yet they're not complicated. If you've studied these hormones, I can actually tweak everything and balance everything. Within 1 to 2 consults, I can write a protocol and figure out estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, cortisol, make sure the thyroid is functioning correctly.
Right.
Because you could have a normal TSH, but if your receptors are not receiving the thyroid hormone, then you could have hypothyroid symptoms like cold sensitivity, hair loss, brittle nails, the end of eyebrows are falling, memory loss, and also the belly pouch can also be from thyroid hormone. So you've got to look at all these hormones together. It's like a dance, right? And guess what? When you're taking progesterone, thyroid receptor sensitivity improves with progesterone.
See, we wouldn't know any of this. And that, I think, is the beauty of functional medicine with the medical degree together. It gives you this opportunity to really dive deep into what the symptoms are, find the solutions. I mean, a lot of us are really scared. We're thinking, okay, we're hearing about these GLPs, but and hearing, oh, should we microdose? What's the right dose? How do we do this? We can't figure this out on our own. And I feel like a lot of medical doctors can't figure it out on their own either. And that's where the functional medicine comes in.
That's right. That's right.
I mean,
we've been studying this field for 25 years. I would like to call myself as one of the pioneers because even when I was 18 years old, I was studying this field. I got lucky enough to meet my mentor at the age of 18, who helped me like dramatically. And he was sending me these thick textbook while I was going through med school and residency and learning this field. And when I came out, I already knew so much. And then I became certified in functional medicine. I became certified in chelation therapy. I became certified in anti-aging medicine. So there's so much more training that went into this after medical school and residency.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just said anti-aging.
Yes.
So that's like the big thing, right? Anti-aging. And when you talk about hormones, is it really important for us to be taking hormones on our journey of anti-aging? Because a lot of people say they can't handle the hormones. It doesn't suit their body. And so they forego it.
Then they haven't been given the right hormone and the right dosage. It has to be tailored to your body, right? And the doctor needs to listen to what you're saying. So let me ask you this. So after, let's say, 50 years, the ovary says, thank you very much. I can't do this anymore, right? But you have another 30 to 40 years to go through life without these hormones. How could that even be possible? How could we optimally function without having estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and DHEA when the ovary says, thank you very much, I can't do this anymore, right? So just because we go through menopause, that doesn't mean that we have to give up on our hormones. And that's the field of anti-aging medicine. It's not that we are anti-aging. We're all going to age.
Right.
But how do we age?
Right. And we want to age gracefully.
We want to age gracefully.
We get to a point where our kids are growing up
Yeah.
and they're becoming self-sufficient, and we want to enjoy our lives in a different space now. And if we're cranky and we're gaining weight and we have fog, all the brain fog, we're not at our optimal.
No.
So does the hormone and the progesterone, does all of that also deal with the brain fog that we're experiencing?
100%. Actually, did you know that estrogen has 400 functions in the body?
Wow.
And there are so many estrogen receptors in the brain. So imagine when you go through menopause, a woman should have an estrogen level between 50 to 150 in the blood. Imagine the estrogen level is going to be less than 6. How can your brain function? This is why Alzheimer and dementia sets in. This is why we start aging.
Unbelievable. There's so much that we don't know. I feel that, our mother's generation didn't talk about it at all. Our generation, thankfully, is speaking about it now. And luckily, with the FDA's recent approval of taking off these warning signs, I feel like we're really entering a new era.
100%. You don't know how excited I was when I watched this on the news, because I've been saying it for the past 20 years, and I'm like, oh my God, finally, the news caught on to what we have been saying as anti-aging doctors, and we've been practicing it. This is nothing new. We've been prescribing hormones for the past 20 to 25 years.
So what would you say to all the women who are watching now who are feeling these symptoms and don't know what to do? What's the number one advice you would say to everyone watching right now?
Get your blood work done. Get on either estrogen patch or an estradiol pellet. The pellet is really powerful because you go in for the procedure, you get the estrogen and testosterone, and then you don't have to put on the patch, you don't have to rub creams on, and then you just take a capsule at night, and that would be the progesterone capsule, and maybe a DHEA capsule if your DHEA level is down.
Incredible.
Right? It's so easy, and the pellets would last you 3 to 4 months. And guess what? Every time your heart beats with cardiac output, right, a little bit of that estrogen and a little bit of that testosterone comes out. So it's a very steady level. You're not getting these ups and downs. Some women do well with the patch. You just have to be careful not to gain weight with the patch, right? And you may still be symptomatic with the estrogen patch. Some women have an allergic reaction to the adhesive, so they can't do the patch. And some women just don't want to deal with putting it on, taking it off. Right?
So there are different ways to go about this.
One thing I want to tell you, though, do not allow anybody to give you estrogen pill, because that can cause strokes and embolism, blood clots. So no estrogen pills.
I mean, you are a wealth of knowledge. Dr. Shiva, for people who want to reach out to you, who want to come in to see you, how can they find you?
Well, they can simply go to drshiva.com, which is drshiva.com. The name of the clinic is Health and Vitality Center. And the office number is 310-477-1166.
Wow. You are a wealth. We could sit for hours and talk. We're going to do another episode to talk more and get a little deeper into GLP-1s, talk more about functional medicine. But I really wanted to address the hormone issue. And I'm so happy that you were here to just clearly state for us that it is safe and necessary.
100%.
Thank you for being here, really.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for educating.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for educating women and for
course.
tweeting us and for doing all that you do. You watched it right here on Moms Matter. Make sure to follow Dr. Shiva. Reach out to her. Get the help you need. We do not need to suffer any longer, women. We are all in this together. Share this with your friends, and let's all get educated together. And we'll see you next time right here.